Have you ever bought something that looked amazing in the store, only to get home and realize it wasn't nearly as good as it seemed? That's not always an accident, because companies don't just sell products. They sell perception. And sometimes the way something is packaged, labeled, advertised, or even named can make it feel higher quality, healthier, rarer, bigger, or more valuable than it really is. From packaging tricks to fake urgency, to labels that sound impressive but mean almost nothing. Here are 20 things companies do to make products seem better than they really are. 1. They use oversized packaging. One of the oldest tricks in the book. Make the box look bigger than what's actually inside. This tactic is often called slack fill, the empty space inside packaging. Now, to be fair, some empty space is legitimate. Fragile items need protection. Some products settle during shipping. And some packages need space for machinery during manufacturing. But in many cases, the package is simply designed to look more full, premium, or valuable than it really is. And companies know something important. Most people don't compare net weight. They compare visual size. So if it looks bigger, it often feels like a better deal. 2. They shrink the product without shrinking the package. This is the sneakiest cousin of oversized packaging, shrinkflation. That's when a company quietly gives you less product, but keeps the price the same, or sometimes even raises it. The bottle looks familiar. The bag looks familiar. The branding looks the same. So your brain assumes, same product, but the amount inside, smaller. Maybe the snack bag has fewer chips. Maybe the paper towel roll has fewer sheets. Maybe the cereal box is narrower by just enough that most people won't notice. And because the front of the package often stays visually similar, the change can slip right past shoppers. Technically, the company may still list the correct amount on the label, but psychologically, they're betting you won't check. 3. They make limited edition products that aren't really limited. Nothing makes people want something faster than the idea that it might disappear. That's why brands love phrases like limited edition, seasonal drop, only while supplies last, exclusive release. And yes, sometimes those products really are limited. But other times, the scarcity is mostly marketing theater. Because when people think something is rare, they stop asking, do I actually want this? And start asking, what if I miss it? That's a powerful psychological trigger. It creates urgency. It makes ordinary products feel special. And it can push people to buy faster, just because the item feels more important than it really is. Scarcity sells, even when it's carefully manufactured. For they use labels that sound meaningful, but aren't. This one is everywhere. Words like natural, clean, pure, wholesome, made with real ingredients, plant-based, non-toxic, eco-friendly. All of these sound reassuring. The problem is, some of them are vague marketing language, not clear proof of quality. A product can look healthier or safer just because of the words on the front, even if those words don't actually tell you much. For example, a label might highlight what's not in a product, while distracting from what is in it. Or it might use feel-good language that creates a better image without giving measurable evidence. That doesn't mean every product using these terms is deceptive. But companies absolutely know that certain words create a halo effect. If it sounds clean, green, simple, or healthy, people often assume the product itself is better, even before reading anything else. 5. They highlight one good thing to distract from everything else. This is one of the smartest tricks in marketing. Take one small positive feature and make it the entire identity of the product. Like high in protein, made with avocado oil, contains vitamins. Organic ingredients, now with collagen, made with real fruit. Sounds impressive, right? But here's the trick. A product can spotlight one appealing feature, while the rest of it is still loaded with things people might care about less. In other words, the company isn't always lying. They're just carefully choosing what you notice first. That's why one flashy claim on the front of the box can completely shape your impression, even if the full product story is more complicated. Marketing doesn't need to be false to be misleading. Sometimes it just needs to be selective. 6. They make products look healthier with packaging colors. Color is doing way more work than most people realize. Think about it, a bright neon snack package feels very different from one that's beige, green, white, matte, minimalist, or covered in leaves or earthy fonts. Even if the actual product inside is nearly the same. Companies know that packaging design can make something seem more natural, more premium, more organic, more clean, or more trustworthy. This is especially powerful in food, skincare, and cleaning products because shoppers often make split-second decisions. And before you've read a single ingredient, your brain has already started building a story. Green says healthy, black says luxury, white says clean. And companies absolutely use that to their advantage. Sometimes, the package is doing more improving than the product itself. 7. They use fancy-sounding product names. A product isn't just soap, it's Botanical Renewal Cleansing Bar. It isn't just coffee. It's Small Batch Velvet Roast Reserve. It's not just frozen pasta, it's Tuscan-inspired Creamy Herb Alfredo Experience. And honestly, that's hilarious, but it works. Because complicated, elevated, or luxurious wording can make ordinary products feel more sophisticated and expensive. This is called premium framing. The language itself helps create the feeling of quality, even when the actual product may be pretty standard. Companies know that people don't just buy function, they buy identity. So the product name is often designed to make you feel like you're choosing something more elevated than the plain version sitting right beside it. 8. They put new on the package even when almost nothing changed. There is something weirdly irresistible about seeing the word new on a product. It instantly grabs attention. It creates curiosity, and it makes people think, oh, maybe this one's better. Even if the actual change is tiny. Maybe the formula is barely adjusted. Maybe the flavor is slightly different. Maybe the packaging changed, and that's basically it. But new gives the product a fresh wave of excitement. And that matters because shoppers are heavily influenced by novelty. A product that feels updated often feels more relevant, more improved, and more worth trying. Sometimes the biggest upgrade isn't the product, it's the marketing reset. 9. They use tiny asterisks and fine print to soften big claims. This one should honestly be illegal in spirit, even when it's technically allowed. A product says something huge like, clinically proven, up to 2 times better, recommended by experts. Results in days, best-selling formula, and then somewhere in microscopic text, there's an asterisk. Because that bold headline often depends on very specific conditions. Maybe up to 2 times better only happened in one narrow comparison. Maybe results in days means some users notice something. Maybe best-selling applies to a super specific subcategory nobody would guess. This is why the boldest claim is often not the full story. The big text sells the dream. The tiny text protects the company. And most people only read one of those. 10. They make cheap ingredients or materials feel premium. This is where branding becomes pure sorcery. A company can take something fairly ordinary and make it feel premium through texture, bottle shape, lighting, and ads, elegant labels, heavier packaging, or luxury wording. And suddenly, people perceive it as higher quality. This happens all the time with cosmetics, candles, drinks, supplements, and home goods. In psychology, this is tied to something called expectation bias. If something looks expensive, people are more likely to believe it is better. Even the weight of a package can affect how premium it feels. So sometimes, the quality you're paying for isn't just the product. It's the presentation of the product. And companies know presentation can dramatically change perceived value. 11. They use fake before and after style messaging. Even when companies don't show literal before and after photos, they often still use the same logic. The message is basically, you are here, but with this product, you could be there. That's why ads constantly imply transformation. Your skin will glow, your home will feel luxurious, your mornings will become organized. Your life will become cleaner, calmer, prettier, more productive. The product isn't just being sold as useful. It's being sold as a version of your future self. And that's incredibly effective. Because people often buy products for what they represent, not just what they do. A water bottle isn't always just a water bottle. Sometimes it's a fantasy of becoming the kind of person who has their life together, which, to be fair, is a very profitable fantasy. 12. They use compare to marketing to borrow trust. You've probably seen products that say things like, compare to the leading brand. Salon quality, restaurant style, luxury inspired, spa-like, professional formula. This works because companies are borrowing the reputation of something you already trust. They're trying to place their product mentally next to a more respected or expensive category. So even if you've never heard of the brand, the wording makes it feel familiar and higher end. It's a shortcut. A way of saying, hey, this belongs in the same league, and sometimes the comparison is fair. But sometimes it's mostly there to create the feeling of equivalence, without proving much at all. 13. They add premium versions of the same product. A lot of companies don't just sell one version of something. They sell regular, premium, ultra, pro, reserve, signature, or deluxe. And the premium one often exists for a very important reason, to make the regular version seem less exciting and push you upward. This is a pricing psychology tactic, because once there's a better version on the shelf, the standard version can start to feel like settling, even if the difference between them is small. Maybe it's a slightly nicer scent, maybe a different finish, maybe just upgraded packaging, but the naming creates a hierarchy. And once a hierarchy exists, people often want to avoid choosing the basic option. So companies don't just sell products. They sell status within the product line. 14. They design products to photograph better than they perform. This one is especially powerful now because so much shopping happens through screens. A product doesn't just need to work. It needs to look amazing in a thumbnail. That means companies often optimize for aesthetic packaging, satisfying textures, perfect lighting in ads, hyper-styled product photography, and Instagram-worthy presentation. And to be fair, that's not automatically dishonest, but it does mean some products are built to sell visually first, which can create a gap between how amazing this looked online and how average this feels in real life. If a product wins the click, it has already done half the job. 15. They use artificial scarcity online. This is the digital version of limited edition, and it's everywhere. Things like, only 3 left, 12 people are viewing this, sale ends in 9/14, going fast, in 8 carts right now. Sometimes that information is real. Sometimes it's exaggerated, recycled, or presented in a way designed to create pressure. This is part of a broader category often called dark patterns, interface designs meant to steer people into decisions faster than they normally would. And it works because urgency reduces careful thinking. When people feel rushed, they compare less, question less, and buy more impulsively. So if a product suddenly seems more desirable because a timer is screaming at you, that may be the point. 16. They use as seen on and authority signals. Humans trust authority, so companies love attaching their products to signals that imply credibility. Like as seen on TV, viral on TikTok, expert approved, dermatologist tested, trending now, used by professionals. Some of these claims can be legitimate, but they're also powerful because they make the product feel pre-validated, like someone else has already done the thinking for you. And once a product feels socially or professionally approved, It automatically seems safer, smarter, and more worth buying, even if you haven't actually looked into what the claim means. 17. They create clean branding around average products. Minimalist branding is one of the most effective image upgrades ever invented. Put a product in a frosted bottle, lowercase font, soft beige packaging, simple typography, and lots of white space, and suddenly it feels expensive, curated, and elevated. This is especially common in wellness, beauty, and home products because people often associate minimalism with quality. The less cluttered the design, the more intentional it feels, and intentional often reads as better. So yes, sometimes the product looks high-end because it was carefully designed to feel that way, not because it actually performs that much better. 18. They rename ordinary ingredients so they sound more impressive. This one is sneaky. A company may take something fairly common and describe it in a way that sounds rare, technical, luxurious, or advanced, like turning salt scrub into mineral exfoliating treatment, or sugar into something more health-sounding, or fragrance into a much prettier sensory story. This doesn't automatically mean the company is lying, but it does mean the wording is often chosen to elevate the ingredient experience. And when ingredients sound more advanced, the product feels more premium, even if it's not actually that unusual. 19. They use greenwashing to seem more ethical. This one is a huge one. A company might use leaf icons, earthy packaging, words like sustainable, eco, or planet-friendly, nature imagery, or selective environmental claims to make the product seem much more environmentally responsible than it actually is. This is known as greenwashing, and it's effective because a lot of people genuinely want to buy better products. The problem is, vague environmental claims can make a product sound responsible without giving much real evidence. For example, a package may emphasize one recyclable component while ignoring the rest. The product may not be entirely fraudulent, but the branding can still create a much greener image than reality supports, and that image can absolutely drive sales. 20. They sell you the feeling, not the product. And this is the biggest trick of all. Most of the time, companies are not just selling lotion, snacks, shoes, water bottles, detergent, candles, or coffee. They're selling a feeling. Comfort, status, control, luxury, health, productivity, calm, confidence, or belonging. And once you understand that, a lot of marketing suddenly makes way more sense because a product doesn't have to simply be useful. It has to make you feel like buying it says something about you. That you're smarter, cleaner, more organized, more stylish, more intentional, more that girl, or more put together. And when companies can make a product feel like a lifestyle upgrade, that product instantly seems better, even before you've used it once. And honestly, that might be the most powerful marketing trick of all. So the next time a product looks way too impressive, take a second look. Because sometimes, the thing you're reacting to isn't the product itself. It's the story wrapped around it. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and see you next time.